Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig. I'm joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. The Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. If you're in Florida and you need roof replacement or repair, whether it's residential, commercial, even municipal, Tom Laporta is your guy. He's a good MAGA man. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at LaportaRoofing.com. All right, we got a lot to cover here. Here in the first segment, something with Tim Walz we want to cover, but some news just dropped just moments ago. Jeremy Boring has exited his role as CEO at the Daily Wire, and he's the guy that does the razors, the Jeremy's razors, the chocolates, and everything else. This is huge.
Yeah. It seems like that whole organization is falling apart.
Well, Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro were partners. They were friends. They were working. I can't remember where they were at before they had the Daily Wire, but they were working together. And whatever that, you guys will know that's listening. This just broke. So, I can't, somebody knows, let me know in the comments. They both lost their jobs and they went and found the funding to start the Daily Wire together. And the Daily Wire, it's been a year since they got rid of Candace now, all right? And then this, that was a big hit to them, but it wasn't as damaging as you would think, because then Candace Owens got very weird with this anti-Israel thing. So they survived that, and then they lost Brett Cooper, who I think left on her own. Her contract was up. She didn't like what they were offering. She left. And I don't think, and I'm shocked at this. I think everyone was shocked at this. Maybe not Brett Cooper, but I was shocked, and certainly the Daily Wire was shocked. What a blow that was to the Daily Wire.
It was a huge blow.
Bigger than Candace Owens.
Yeah, it was a huge blow, and she handled it masterfully.
Yeah.
Brett Cooper. She really did. Much better than Candace Owens.
Oh, Brett Cooper. Yeah, she
just handled it like... I know there was some drama with the co-host, but she rose above that, didn't even really address it too much, and she just moved on in a brilliant way. And she's been doing interviews and hosting spaces on X, and she's building her own brand. And I'm guessing that since this guy left, that the culture there, what's happening probably is there's egos involved, and they're having some disagreements on programming and other choices, and they're probably blaming each other for the failures. Well, like he might be saying to Ben Shapiro, well, you're the reason we lost Candace, or you're the reason, you know what I mean? And I think that's what's going on. And obviously they're not getting along. They're not agreeing. Things are falling apart. And this is the beginning of the end.
Well, everything is always about money. Let me read you this just dropped. In fact, Kathy and I started the segment, and then this just dropped on X, and I said, "Oh, Kathy, we got to start the segment." We were talking. We were only like 15 seconds into it, and I said, "Oh, this just dropped on X. We got to talk about this." So we started over. Let me just read this headline: Jeremy Boring, co-founder of the Daily Wire, has stepped down from his role as co-CEO to focus on creative projects within the company. This transition follows a series of high-profile departures from the Daily Wire, including Candace Owens and Brett Cooper. Jeremy Boring's move is seen as part of a broader shift in the company's operation, with no immediate confirmation of who will succeed him.
Whatever.
Okay, total BS. The reason he's doing creative projects in the company is because he's still under contract. He has a non-compete, and they're not going to let him go. But we've been talking about this since, I think it was CPAC. They had this very bizarre at CPAC. They had all these guys from the Daily Wire up on stage: Jeremy Boring, Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, and the other two guys whose names I can't remember. The guy that's in the movies, and then the old guy whose last name starts with K. He's always fighting with Candace Owens on X. And it was just bizarre watching these guys sit around. And then they were in the audience at the President's State of the Union last week, and I told you they bought their way into both of these things, right? They paid some congressman to get them into the State of the Union. They probably paid CPAC to have the speaking thing. And I was telling you then, Kathy, and I talked about it here on the program, they're desperate for money. We were talking a little bit with Charlie Kirk recently. Now that Trump's been reelected, a lot of the fundraising money is dried up, but because the Daily Wire lost Candace Owens and Brett Cooper, And the way
they paid them a lot of money. I know Candace Owens, they paid her millions.
But they lost tons of people that were watching the programming. And Brett Cooper, I was shocked. And I think most people were at how popular she was. I think even I was joking. I think even she was surprised. And what Jeremy Boring did, he's a very weird guy. He wears this bent key as a necklace, and the bent key is supposed to fit some theater. I don't know. It's some store. It's very strange. But when he replaced Brett Cooper with that girl Reagan, who was her producer, he recreated the same show, and it was a real fu to Brett Cooper. Like, who do you think you are? They have lost, I believe, tons of viewers, subscribers to their subscription service.
It's like one, you know how it is, like
arrogance.
It's that, but it's like one bad decision after another, and it just keeps snowballing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like a snowball going down the hill, and they can't stop it. And and what happens is you get into panic head, and you start making bad decisions.
Yes.
And one bad decision leads to another bad decision. And next thing you know, you're out of business. I mean, that happens with a lot of people. They are not rational anymore. They start to panic. They start to fight. And you notice, Trump just gave Charlie Kirk some appointment with the Air Force recruiting or something, even though I don't think he was in the Air Force. He just appointed a few people that helped him to different positions. Somebody at West Point and all this stuff. Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, they are not in the inner circle with Trump.
Nobody likes them.
They're not at Mar-a-Lago, even though Ben Shapiro lives down here in Palm Beach. They are not in the inner sanctum. They're out. They're on the outs. And when he was at the Trump speech in the gallery, I even said to you, I said, why is he there? And he said, because he probably paid his way to get in, and he probably, paid somebody to get, because I promise you, Trump did not invite him. But this is, I've never liked Ben Shapiro. I don't think,
I think
a lot of his.
No one likes Ben Shapiro.
I agree. And I think a lot of his appeal was fake.
But
I think a lot of his,
paid promotions.
I think it was a perception, and it was not organic, and it was not real. I think it was the perception that he was a player.
Nobody likes Ben Shapiro.
The perception that he was big.
Yeah.
He did have a brief stint on Fox News. They were going to give him a show, and he was kind of auditioning, and he was so unlikable. He talks so fast, you can't understand a word he says, and he's obnoxious. And they cut him loose so fast, it's like you might not even remember it happened. So I have no problem with this. I think I can't stand Michael Knowles. I think he's a creep, and I don't like Ben Shapiro. And I think they're all idiots. And I hope that it does go away, because I think they're all. I'm not a fan of any of those guys.
No, I'm not either. And the thing with
pompous windbags.
Ben Shapiro, he did an interview a year or so ago on the what is the name of that YouTube channel? The guy that does the iced coffee talk channel. He's some of you know who I'm talking about. Search iced coffee, Ben Shapiro will come up. And it's a guy that does a YouTube channel about business. And one of his businesses, which failed, was his iced coffee business. And he has the channel named after that, the iced coffee something. And he interviewed Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro was talking about him and Jeremy Boring, how they got the fundraising and how they do all this advertising. And Ben Shapiro's popularity has been bought through millions of dollars in advertising on all the different social platforms, and to make it pop up with everyone.
And I think it's fake, his popularity.
It's all fake. Nobody likes him. No. I mean, I agree with Ben Shapiro his position on Israel, but I don't like the guy. I don't listen. And he's a never Trumper, and everybody knows he's a never Trumper. And Jeremy Boring, losing Candace was bad enough, but the way that he handled the Brett Cooper, when Steven Crowder, remember Steven Crowder, they tried to get him to go work over there, and he released that conversation he had with Jeremy Boring, which I thought was very creepy for Crowder to do. But Steven Crowder was right. He started this thing called Big Con, like big conservative media, Big Con. And there's a lot of somebody called me on the morning show today and said, I listened to a lot of people online because you're not corporate media. And I said, don't be so sure about these people online not being corporate media. And the Daily
We are definitely not corporate. Brian is definitely not corporate media.
You think I do all these different shows? I'm live streaming like at 2 a.m. because we got the corporation behind us? I don't think so. You think I'd be on YouTube at 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. and then 6 a.m. if we had big corporates behind us?
He's a one-man band.
Yeah, I know, guys. That's why you should become a Patreon supporter.
Exactly. Because you really should, because Brian works so hard. He does not have a team. I help him a little bit. Yeah. Okay, when I can. But I'm disabled. So that's your team, a disabled middle-aged woman.
Well, I have our cats. Exactly. That's it. But no,
supporting the show is important.
But what happens is because alt media programs like this have become popular and players, the big money people get in. And the Daily Wire, a lot of their business model is on their paid subscriptions and things like this. And between Candace Owens and Brett Cooper, I promise you, they've taken a massive financial hit.
Well, let me ask you this.
He's the captain of the ship.
When was the last time you saw anything on X with the Daily Wire? I see more tweets about The View. I know that's a network show, but I see Benny Johnson all the time. I see Alex Jones all the time. I see Charlie Kirk all the time. I don't ever see stories being led by or retweeted by or the Daily Wire at all. I can't remember the last time I saw Ben Shapiro online doing anything. And I think you're right. I think everything before was money driven. The money is gone. And it'll be interesting to see how these guys navigate a post-Trump media world, because I truly believe once Trump is finished with his office, he will slow down a little bit. I mean, he's had a really crazy time and he is getting older. I'm not saying he'll leave politics completely, but I think he will be spending more time golfing and with his grandchildren than campaigning. And he deserves that. He deserves that. We should not expect Trump to campaign till he's 100. He deserves a break, but he's doing everything he can now as quickly as he can because he knows he only has 4 years to get it all done. So what's going to happen to these huge, this one won't make it. What's going to happen to these other ones like Charlie Kirk or these, these other things when Trump is not the candidate? Charlie Kirk and other people like him have built their whole, but you've been here for 30 years. I mean, you were around way before Trump came along into politics, but a lot of these guys built their whole brand on Trump. And it'll be interesting to see how they navigate it.
You know what it is, Kathy? This is what happens, okay? Jeremy Boyne and Ben Shapiro have always been never Trumpers. They're the neocons, Bush kind of Republicans.
Yeah, they're fake.
Okay, so they're not ever been with us. But what happens a lot of times, what's happened to these organizations like the Daily Wire, and this is happening to a certain extent, sadly, with Charlie Kirk. I like Charlie Kirk, but without Trump campaigning, there's a lot of changes. And what's happened to a lot of these this is a really bad comparison to make, but I think it illustrates it. The Daily Wire, Turning Point. What happens is they get very big. It's kind of like
Jim
Baker and the
Heritage Park, or what was it called?
PTL Club. And Heritage USA. They get so big. And, like Kathy and I were joking, but in all good jokes, there's truth to it. I'm a one-man band. Kathy helps me a little bit. That's why I do so much at crazy hours, because I'm up working. Yeah. And, here it is.
It's literally just Brian and me once in a while.
Well, like here, I get up at 1:30 every morning during the week, and I'm working until the podcast goes live on YouTube, which is usually around 6 or 7 at night. And then I'm up at 1:30 again. And these guys, they have huge teams and personalities, and they get a big overhead. And what happened with Jim Baker had to make millions of dollars a month just to pay the light bill. So when these guys get too big and they depend a lot on subscriptions or donations, because a lot of what Charlie Kirk does is like political donations, which is fine, but the organizations grow. President Trump wins. He's not running again. The donations dry up. And then they start doing things like having the Young Turks speak at Turning Point.
Let me ask you this. Charlie Kirk still goes to college campuses.
Absolutely.
And he went to, and what he's doing is great. He definitely is doing a great thing.
He's awesome.
I don't like him talking to liberals, but whatever. But he just went to a college campus last week I saw, and thousands of kids turned out to see him, liberal and conservative. And he has changed minds. Yes, no doubt about it.
Very important person.
But I wonder, how much money do you think he raises doing that stuff? How much money do college kids have? And do they even donate to him? Do you think that he does those at a cost? Does he lose money?
They do those for a couple reasons.
Or does he make any money off of doing those things at colleges?
What he does, because
he's got to pay to be there, I'm sure.
I'm not talking about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point in the same way we're talking about the Daily Wire and Jeremy Boring, because I love Charlie Kirk and Turning Point's amazing, but and I support him in everything he does, except hang out with Gavin Newsom and that Chint Younger from the Young Turks. He goes to the college campuses for a couple reasons. One, recruit. Okay, because they want to have chapters.
Well,
they
and
recruit.
Things go viral too.
And well, that's the second one. And they go to recruit. They want the organizations on the campuses to grow. So that's part of it.
True.
Another one is he's under pressure to be viral online. So he needs those viral things. Okay. And, so those are the main reasons. Now, the Daily...
But do you think those kids give him money? Do they get donations? Do they make money doing that? Because they travel with a huge crew. It's expensive. They got to rent out the space.
Yes, he'll do those Turning Point events are not cheap to go to.
Right. Oh, okay.
Okay, you got to pay to go to them. They're very expensive.
But he has a lot of overhead, like you said.
And when I went to the one, I was amazed at the Turning Point. There was an entire dealer's room, like at Comic-Con, where people pay big bucks to have booths and stuff. So it's
amazing what he's built.
It's amazing.
I mean, this guy started on Patreon? But on what was that old? Not Patreon.
Periscope.
Periscope. Yeah.
So Jeremy Boring here with the Daily Wire. I would have now again for the CEO to step down after this huge loss of Candace, but then of Brett Cooper. And this thing at the State of the Union and at CPAC just reeked desperation. And I even talked about it at the time when I saw Jeremy Boring with Ben Shapiro at the State of the Union, and we were watching it live, and I told Kat that cost them some money, and it's a desperate attempt for them to give the appearance that they're in the mix.
That's right.
That they're in when they're not, because everybody knows they're never Trumpers. My guess is there's been
that was for optics.
Yes, to try to save his job.
Yeah,
he knew he was in trouble.
So. It was like a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and I think they've taken a major financial hit on their subscriptions and their views and listens on all of their programming. And one of the reasons you haven't been seeing them on Twitter or in social media so much is because they were paying for that promotion.
And I don't...
They don't have the money to do it, I'm guessing.
I'm not a fan of Candace Owens because I don't like her anti-Semitic stuff. And I think this thing with Macron's wife is bizarre, even though Tucker agrees with her. But she is very popular still. I mean, if you look at her videos on YouTube, she gets hundreds of thousands of views per video, even. Millions sometimes. She is very, very popular. And losing her was the beginning of the end. It was a huge mistake. But what happened is she started saying anti-Jewish things. And that, of course, Ben Shapiro was not going to support financially, which I understand. Okay. But this is when you allow your personal feelings to get in the way when you make a business decision. Yeah. And that's what he did. That is the only reason they cut her loose, I'm convinced, is because she started speaking against Israel and Jewish people. And he probably said, well, I'm not going to give this woman money because she's against everything I stand for. And I understand that. I do. But just because she said it, it doesn't, you have when you're on the radio, you've been on the radio a long time, there's always a disclaimer before your show. The views and opinions of the show do not express the opinions of the owner or the station.
Every hour, top of every hour.
And I wonder if Ben Shapiro could have just done something like that before her show. The views and opinions are of the host of her own, and they do not express the opinions, this and that. I wonder if that would have made it better.
The big, I've got some
then
more
the
updates.
Brett Cooper was like a double whammy.
The Brett Cooper was a bigger hit than Candace Owens.
I don't know.
It was,
I don't know. Candace is pretty they're both pretty bad.
The backlash was huge. But okay, now there's Axios has an update on Jeremy Boring. Okay, so let me read through this. I'm reading this cold. I've not read this. Jeremy Boring, co-founder of the Daily Wire, is stepping down from his role as co-CEO to focus on creative projects for the company. I'll call bullshit on that right there. He told staff in a memo obtained by Axios on Tuesday. Boring has been with the Daily Wire since its inception in 2015. He helped grow the outlet from a tiny news startup with $4.7 million in seed funding. Boy, I would.
How much?
$4.7 million in seed funding.
That's a lot of seeds.
If that's a new startup, I don't know what the hell I am. I'm a homeless guy, you know. I mean, you know, because
we're just dirt poor.
I guess if 4.7 mil is just a seed money,
we won't even make near that in our lifetime.
Kathy, that's just the seed money, right? That's not even okay. But anyway,
somebody should give you those seeds.
Yes, exactly. Just maybe half a seed. Just kind of. But anyway, he helped grow the outlet, the Daily Wire, from a tiny news startup with $4.7 million in seed funding to a media giant valued north of $1 billion last year.
Gracious.
Now, that valuation was, I'm guessing, before Candace and Brett Cooper's
I didn't
exit.
realize they had so much money.
Caleb Robinson, who is the company's founding CEO, will become the company's full-time CEO effective immediately. Robinson and Boring have been co-CEOs since 2019. Caleb Robinson co-founded the company alongside Boring and the outlet's editor emeritus, Ben Shapiro. So typical that he would have this.
This tells me that this tells me, I could be wrong, that this guy was behind the Brett Cooper fiasco or something. They're blaming him.
Well, they're blaming him for major financial losses.
He's the fall guy, and this is what they do. Like at networks, when they're doing bad, they get a new person running the network. They fire some people, and they think that makes everything okay. That's what's going on here. They gave him a different position, and now they're this new guy, and they think that bringing in this fresh blood is gonna help the company. But I don't think it will.
The Daily Wire's doomed.
Yeah, I just think it's toxic.
Boring said he'll remain with the company in an advisory role. He will continue to co-host the Daily.
Sounds like a demotion.
Yeah, these things that he's doing are only to keep him
in name only.
Control. They want to keep him under control with the whatever contract he has. He'll continue to host Daily Wire Backstage, which is a show that features Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Andrew Clavin. That's the guy I can never remember. He'll focus on full-time creative projects, including the completion of the Daily Wire TV series, The Pendragon Cycle.
Sounds fascinating.
Oh, I can't wait for the Pendragon Cycle.
It sounds like an episode of Star Trek.
It sounds like he's playing Dungeons and Dragons and filming the gameplay.
I think Boring's a big geek.
He's out. He's been fired. This keeping him there is to keep control of him, so they don't want to let him out from the contract yet because
they're keeping him on a leash.
Yeah, exactly. And the Daily Wire's done.
Well, it shows
they're going to collapse with this.
I think so.
And Ben Shapiro.
Look what happened to James O'Keefe. I mean, this happens so much. Look at the guy at Papa John's, the guy at Goya. They kicked him off the board. The guy whose grandfather founded the company, the president of Goya Foods, I read is no longer the CEO.
I didn't see that.
The board voted him out. Probably because he's MAGA. This happens all the time where you have people that are at the top and then they don't they get booted out of the company because they blame them for the things that are going wrong. Obviously, things are going wrong or there wouldn't be such a shakeup.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is a bold prediction, but I'm going to tell you that Ben Shapiro is going to be next. And I'll tell you why I think that. Because I agree with what you said, Kathy, 150%. I know the greatest of a whole is 100, but just to overemphasize my support.
Can I get that in writing?
I say that all. I always support everything you do.
You do.
Ben Shapiro is not liked by anyone. His persona and popularity is all bought and paid for through advertising.
Yeah, like the Democrats. It's all fake.
It's all fake. So the Daily Wire, my guess is they're in severe financial problems due to losing viewers to all of their programs and subscribers to their online things because of Brett Cooper and Candace Owens.
They seem to have trouble getting women involved. When they've had 3 issues with women now: Candace, Brett, and then Brett's best friend,
Reagan.
All have had problems with these women. So it can't be the women. these are men that obviously have problems with women in getting attention, and they don't like it, and they want to keep them in their place. I imagine I don't watch their stuff too much, but I've seen clips with them sitting around with their cigars, and I would imagine they're a bunch of sexist assholes.
Dorks and
geeks, and they like having power over beautiful women because they never had that power growing up. And maybe Ben Shapiro's wife has him on a short leash, and at work he likes to terrorize people. I don't know, but there's definitely some strange dynamics going on here with the personalities and the egos. And they definitely have issues with women because they've had 3 women now that it's turned ugly that have worked with them. So clearly that's the issue. I don't know why they got to keep hiring women. Just stop doing it. I mean, they don't seem to like them too much.
The Daily Wire's done. And I give you an example, Glenn Beck wrecked The Blaze. The Blaze was a big thing. It got overexposed. They had to get bailed out. And you don't hear about The Blaze anymore. They're not players. It's there.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's there. But when's the last time you've gone to The Blaze? I used to go there every day. I haven't been there like in years.
When was the last time you saw Glenn Beck on anything?
Not much. And he was huge. And so back to the Shapiro thing. His popularity is all fake through advertising dollars, okay? So when that stops, his true unpopularity is going to shine. He is a very unlikable person. To be a personality, you have to be likable. Even if you're kind of like nasty, there's a thing called an anti-hero. You know what I mean? It's a thing.
He's not even that.
No, he is just he talks as fast as an auctioneer. He's a never Trumper. And no one likes him.
He comes across as a know-it-all.
Yes.
And somebody who doesn't listen and just wants to talk. And they hired Candace and Brett to bring in people to subscribe, and then they turn around and fire them. So what do they think is going to happen? Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Kathy, the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets, they're $40 off all sizes with our promo code Kane right now. Which isn't that amazing? And there's also free shipping offers available as well at mypillow.com. We have 6 sets or 8 sets of the sheets?
No, we have I think 6. Because I have some of the flannel too.
Well, I think if you include the percal, because we have, the flannel sheets are also the Giza sheets. So we have regular Giza Dream Sheets.
I think we have 6 total.
The flannel Giza Dream Sheets. And we also have the percal on our guest bed. So I think with that, we might have 8, but 6, 8. I know we got a lot of them. And, the thing about the sheets, the Giza Cotton Dream Sheets, $40 off all sizes with our promo code Kane at checkout.
And we have so many because we have different colors. So I don't have 8 of the same color.
No, we have different colors.
I like to have different colors.
There's 2 things, though, about the MyPillow Giza sheets that just blow me away. One is this. All year round, no matter what the temperature is, because they're of that 100% Giza cotton, which is the finest cotton in the world, you're always the perfect temperature like Goldilocks. Winter, summer, and fall, although we just have winter and summer.
They're a thicker sheet, but they breathe. They're really nice.
They keep you the perfect temperature, no matter what. And in Florida, we have some hot weather during the summer.
Oh, yeah.
And even during the hottest months of the summer, you're cool and perfect. It's almost like you have air conditioning. Last night was a cold night here in Florida. It was 50, 51, which is ice cold in Florida. I know it gets colder where some of you may live. But we got the flannel sheet, the perfect temperature all night. And the second thing about them that amazes me, and this is what I talk about most often because I've never seen this in any other sheet. And we have so many, some of them we've had for years since they were first available. The fitted sheet at the bottom always fits on all 4 corners of the mattress perfectly without effort. And with other fitted sheets, you've got to stretch to get those corners on. And you can never get all 4 corners on right. With the MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets, you can. They're like everything else Mike Lindell makes high quality. So anyway, the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets are $40 off, all sizes, and there's a whole bunch of new colors in as well with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You've got to use our promo code Kane. I don't have any seed money from that startup founders of the Daily Wire, but you guys, if you use our promo code Kane, you're my seed. Okay?
You're singing for your
supper.
You're
seeding us. That's right. No, but if make sure to use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, for all of these incredible deals at checkout at mypillow.com. I'm Brian Craig. My wife and co-host Kathy is here. We'll be right back. You followed all the rules. You did everything right, too. And you have success. You made it. So why does something still feel like it's missing? That quiet whisper of what now? It's not just a thought. It's a signal. It's a wake-up call. From global strategist and author Sharif Labib comes the must-read and life-changing book, Paradigms Unlocked, A Journey to Clarity, Purpose, and Fulfillment. Available on Amazon. Paradigms Unlocked is a blueprint for your transformation. With this book, you'll discover the hidden beliefs shaping your life and learn how to break through the barriers, rewire your mindset, and create a future filled with clarity and purpose. The author has spent over 25 years guiding Fortune 500 companies and high achievers, uncovering the hidden forces that dictate success and fulfillment, helping leaders, organizations, and individuals just like you break through mental barriers, redefine success, and take control of their future. And he's sharing his knowledge with you in Paradigms Unlocked. You know there's more for you, more success, more meaning, more fulfillment, but nothing changes unless you do. Break free, take control, and unlock your true potential with Paradigms Unlocked, A Journey to Clarity, Purpose, and Fulfillment from author Sharif Labib. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Take control of your future right now with Paradigms Unlocked on Amazon. If you're a homeowner or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Laporta Roofing has been in the roofing and construction business since 1984, with thousands of roof installations and thousands of satisfied customers. Did you know that in the state of Florida, you can open a roofing company and borrow someone else's license? Tom Laporta is the holder of his roofing and general contractor's licenses, not like the other companies that borrow other people's licenses. So be sure who you're dealing with. Tom Laporta and his team are honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Roofing carries all insurance, including workers' compensation on all of its employees, not just a waiver like other contractors. Laporta Roofing can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing, HOAs, condominiums, and churches. If it's roofing, Laporta Roofing can do it. So call Tom Laporta on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, or connect online at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602. Laporta Roofing, the go-to roofing company you can trust. Are you looking for something unique? Visit BoutThatBusiness.com. That's BoutThatBusiness. Your one-stop shop for customized t-shirts, vintage comic books, Hot Wheels, and more. From jewelry and backpacks to dresses, kids items, Funko Pops, home goods, and outdoor gear. They've got it all. Don't miss out. Shop now at BoutThatBusiness.com. That's BoutThatBusiness, where style meets variety. How would you like to take control of your online privacy? Are you tired of expensive VPN subscriptions? Now you can build your very own VPN server quickly, easily, and at a price you can afford. From author Lin Song comes the book, Build Your Own VPN Server, a step-by-step guide available on Amazon. The author holds a PhD, is a software engineer, and open source developer, and he shares his years of experience and knowledge with you in his book. Build Your Own VPN Server walks you through setting up WireGuard, OpenVPN, and more, even if you've never set up a server before. With Build Your Own VPN Server, you'll learn how to create a secure VPN on the cloud or a Raspberry Pi, even on public Wi-Fi. And with a self-hosted VPN, you'll save money. It works on Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. Build Your Own VPN Server is written in simple, beginner-friendly steps. This guide makes cybersecurity easy for everyone. It's available in multiple languages, including English, Spanish, German, French, Japanese, and Chinese. Order your copy right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, audiobook, and Kindle Unlimited. Build Your Own VPN Server, a step-by-step guide on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Trump and Putin talked on the phone today for quite a long time. I am really shocked at how long they talked on the phone, and we very well may have a summit meeting at some point. I want to go through this. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, which is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. He's a good MAGA guy, and if you're in the state of Florida and need roof replacement or repair, Tom Laporta is your guy. Commercial, residential, and even municipal. Online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right, let's go through this. Just breaking. Trump and Putin agreed to 30-day ceasefire after 2-hour phone call as key detail and talk hints at New World Order. And see, this is the Daily Mail. So the Daily Mail is liberal, but let's go through it. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, or I should say Vladimir Putin, took the first step towards ending the war between Russia and Ukraine as they agreed to an energy and infrastructure ceasefire. The partial ceasefire agreement will be in effect for 30 days. Talks for a permanent peace will begin immediately in the Middle East. These are the Saudi Arabia talks. And that would be a great place to have a summit meeting with the president and Putin. When I was a kid, when Reagan was president, they had summit meetings all the time. New York, Iceland. President Reagan went to Moscow. Nixon had Brezhnev at Camp David. So, this idea that you don't talk to the Russian leaders, I think they don't, the past people, right, the Biden regime, they didn't want to talk to him because talking would end the fighting, and they didn't want that to happen. They got to feed that military-industrial complex. The leaders agreed that the movement to peace will begin with an energy and infrastructure ceasefire, as well as technical negotiations on implementation of a maritime ceasefire in the Black Sea, full ceasefire, and permanent peace. These negotiations will begin immediately in the Middle East. That comes out of Carolyn Leavitt's office at the White House. The White House statement also contained a key detail hinting at a realignment of the Middle East, a statement of support for Israel over Iran. Now, isn't it nice? We have a real president who's not there to get rich, to make money, to sell out the country. He's actually like doing his job. And you can see how much can be done. This is huge. Supporting Israel over Iran. Russia is allied with Iran, and they are allied with Iran in large part because they don't have many people they can align with, so they align with them. This is so awesome and so beautiful and so perfect. I mean, what Donald Trump is doing here is different than anything we could have imagined. The two leaders shared the view that Iran should never be in a position to destroy Israel. This is an official statement from the White House after the call, hinting at a potential for a future shift in the world order in which Moscow becomes less forthright in its support of Tehran. They got to be friends with Tehran. Who else are they going to be friends with these days? That's why. The White House also hinted at a shakeup of the American foreign relations that would include a closer relationship between Washington and Moscow. Yeah. These tiny little countries that are insignificant, Europe and many others, the countries of Europe and many other countries around the world, they're not players. They're tiny countries. This includes Canada. Their new prime minister was acting all butch today. And these are tiny countries with small economies, small populations. They used to be a big deal, 300, 200, 400, 500 years ago. They're nothing now. And the only thing that keeps them relevant is keeping chaos in the world. And the United States and Russia being partners is the way it should be. It really should. Think about how things could change for the better without all these tiny little countries that are trying to cause trouble all the time, messing around. Okay, so I'll go back. The White House hinted at a shakeup of American foreign relations that would include a closer relationship with Washington and Moscow. An improved U.S.-Russian relationship has a huge upside, the administration noted. This includes enormous economic deals and geopolitical stability when peace has been achieved. Meanwhile, when it comes to the Ukraine, Putin, I like that they say the Ukraine. That's what we grew up calling it. Putin had conditions for a permanent end to the fighting, saying he wants the United States and its allies to end military and intelligence assistance to Ukraine to halt hostilities, according to a Kremlin statement. it was emphasized that the key condition for preventing the escalation of the conflict and working towards its resolution through political and diplomatic means should be the complete cessation of foreign military aid and the provision of intelligence information to Kiev, the Kremlin says. European allies, however, are worried that could result in Moscow rearming itself during a ceasefire, leaving Kyiv shorthanded and playing catch-up. Well, that's not true, because even though we wouldn't be sharing the intelligence with Ukraine, we would still have it, and the United States would be monitoring everything that goes on. So that's perfect. In other news out of Tuesday's phone call, Putin agreed to send back 23 critically injured Ukrainian prisoners. The call between Putin and President Trump lasted about 2 hours, beginning at around 10 a.m. Eastern time and concluding at noon. Trump spoke from the Oval Office, where he was joined by Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. As part of it, Trump agreed with Putin's idea for an ice hockey game between U.S. and Russian players, the Kremlin said. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. That'd be pretty awesome. Donald Trump supported Vladimir Putin's idea of organizing hockey matches in the United States and Russia between Russian and American players playing in the NHL and the KHL, Moscow said. I'm not sure if that would be a good idea. Would we win that? I don't know. I don't know much about who we have in the NHL these days. Meanwhile, Zelensky said Europe must be part of any negotiations on a permanent ceasefire. See here, you see Zelensky's already trying to mess things up. Europe must be at the negotiating table, and everything that occurs that concerns European security must be decided together with Europe, Zelensky said in a statement. Well, remember what President Trump said. Zelensky doesn't have the cards, and he's right about that. Now, I don't agree with that. Europe should not be at the table. They're not players. The United States is NATO. Screw them. No, they should not be. Because first off, they don't want to end the war. They want to prolong. No, they should not be there. As of this moment that I'm talking to you, and this could change later, Ukraine has not yet responded to the agreement for a 30-day ceasefire. Zelensky was not a part of the phone call. See, that tells you right there they're not players. I mean, you've got the two grown-ups, President Trump and Putin, that are talking. The call was the first known conversation between Trump and Putin since Ukraine agreed last week to support a U.S.-backed 30-day ceasefire as long as Russia does the same. Trump went into the call confident he could get a ceasefire deal. President Trump said yesterday, we can work on a peace agreement, a ceasefire and peace, and I think we'll be able to do it, President Trump said. Ahead of the phone call, Trump said he planned to discuss land and power plants with Putin. We'll be talking about land. A lot of land is a lot different than it was before the war, as you know. We'll be talking about land. We'll be talking about power plants. That's a big question, President Trump said. The power plant in question is a nuclear plant in southern Ukraine. The 6-reactor nuclear plant is Europe's largest. Russia seized control of it early in the war and still has it in their possession. The nuclear plant has not supplied power to Ukraine's grid since its capture, but its proximity to frontline fighting has raised concerns about the risk of a radiological disaster, and the Ukrainians want it back. Well, I don't know how you guys feel, or maybe I do. I think most of you that listen to me would agree. Who cares what Ukraine wants? We just got to end this war. And, I remember when the Berlin Wall fell. I know a lot of you guys remember that too. It was a pretty amazing thing, wasn't it? It absolutely was. And the United States and Russia were getting so close and were being so friendly and building an alliance, and things were going good for quite a while. And then, I don't know, things started to happen. And then this in Ukraine. And there's no reason why we should not be very close friends with Russia. The United States, Russia, and China are the 3 big players in the world right now. And China's not as big of a player nearly as Russia is, of course. But if our 2 countries are united, are really united, and when I say united, I mean partners. If the United States were not just friends, but partners with Russia, bypassing all these hack troublemakers in Europe, could you imagine how that would change pretty much everything? Now, this is a beautiful thing, and let's hope that it happens soon. It is going to happen. and President Trump's going to lock him in. Now, when we get a new president, if they're not MAGA, they'll probably burn it because they hate Russia. But this is as good as it gets, guys. I mean, we're very blessed to have Trump. Now, there was a second thing that happened today. While Putin is being reasonable, Chief Justice John Roberts is not. We have these federal judges that are running around acting like they are presidents of the United States, and the president turns off the lights at the White House, and some federal judge rules that he's got to turn them back on. And there's been a lot of talk about this lately. I've talked about it a lot. I've never known judges to come in and harass presidents like this. And I don't think many people have. It really hasn't happened like this. And there's talk of impeaching this particular judge that ordered the flight of the Venezuelan criminals turned around. And John Roberts, who might be a Republican appointed by Bush, he's compromised. We know this, right? He's a never Trumper. He's big trouble. Chief Justice John Roberts issued a stunning rebuke of Donald Trump and an explosive statement over the deportation of migrants and attacks on judges. This came after Trump called for the impeachment of a judge who had blocked his bid to send people the administration said were members of that violent Venezuelan gang to El Salvador, which is true. Trump attacked the federal lower court judge as a radical left lunatic and a wild tirade on social media. He also talked about him on Air Force One. But Chief Justice John Roberts took what they call a rare step of intervening and publicly slapping down the president. For more than 2 centuries, this is John Roberts, for more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision, Roberts said in a court statement issued by the Supreme Court. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose. They spelled court in this news article in the newspaper I'm reading, C-U-R-T. We've got a generation of illiterates out there. By that, Justice Roberts meant that if the administration has a problem with the judge's ruling, it should appeal and fight it out in court rather than savaging a Senate-confirmed judge in public. These lower court federal judges are getting involved in things that they have no business getting involved in. And a president of the United States cannot be pushed around by any judge on just regular day-to-day decisions and orders that are in their scope of authority. And it's obviously an extension of the lawfare that very hack judges are doing. And if Trump starts bending to these lower-level judges, he's going to be overrun with them. With appeals and never get anything done. And the next thing you know, the 4 years are up. Don't you understand what they're trying to do? What they're doing, the establishment and the Democrats with these judges, it's not just obstruction of the president and an insurrection of sorts. It's also their attempt to run out the clock because they know he only has this last term left. And they've told themselves that after the midterms, he'll be a lame duck and won't be able to do anything anyway. So they're trying to run out the clock of the presidency and jam him up and stop him from doing anything. Trump should continue to do what it is he's doing. All right, so let me get back to this. I'll go back a paragraph. Roberts meant if the administration has a problem with the judge's ruling against it, it should appeal and fight it out in court rather than savage a Senate-confirmed judge in public. Any ultimate appeal would end up before the Supreme Court, where conservatives hold a 6-3 majority. The blast from the ordinarily circumspect justice, which is not true. He's an activist judge for the establishment, John Roberts, comes at a time when some liberal legal scholars say a constitutional crisis is looming or already here over a crush of court orders that would rein in constitutional authority Trump claims as his alone. Although Justice Roberts used language that was legalistic and did not identify Trump by name, the public comment came just a few hours after Trump attacked a radical left lunatic judge who had issued a temporary restraining order. The ruling from federal judge James Boasberg came after a fiery hearing where he demanded the government declare when it thinks his own orders on the deportations took effect, after the administration said the deportation flights were underway and over international waters when it learned of the judge's order. And Trump on Truth Social posted this, right? This radical left lunatic of a judge, a troublemaker and agitator who was sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama. And he used all three names for a purpose that you guys get, was not elected president. He didn't win the popular vote by a lot. He didn't win all 7 swing states. He didn't win 2,750 to 525 counties. He didn't win anything. I won for many reasons and an overwhelming mandate. It goes on. This is, Trump goes on. No, Trump can't bend to these judges every time they want to make a move against him and run out his clock and obstruct him from doing his job. And, one of the things I've noticed with Trump in this second term, he's in a whole nother mindset than he was in the first term. He doesn't care what the press say or think, and he doesn't care about these instigators and obstructionists like these federal judges. He's doing what he thinks is the right thing to do, what he knows is right, and he's not getting bogged down in debate and in petty arguments and trying to convince people that he's right. He knows he's right. He's got the mandate of the majority vote, the popular vote behind him, and he's going to do what it is he's going to do. And I hope he continues to ignore these out of control lunatic federal judges. He shouldn't bend the knee to any of them.
My name is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. Over the years, I've treated thousands and thousands of patients from bursitis, tendonitis, sciatica, stenosis, neuropathy, tears, post-surgery, pre-surgery, herniated disc, gout, bone on bone. If you can name the pain, most likely I've treated over the years. Most of my practice is laser with robotic lasers. They're robots which rotates constantly around the area, where most lasers do not do that. So if you want to come in for a free consultation, as always here, welcome at Appleton Chiropractic. I'm here 6 days a week. I personally do all the treatment. You can bring your MRIs, you can bring your x-rays, you can bring your CAT scans, whatever you have to bring for me to look at, I would do that free of charge.
Call Dr. Appleton right now for that free consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. What if the news didn't just tell you the story, but made you live it? Author Emily Tiffany Joy takes you inside a near-future society where the line between fact and fiction disappears in Technesthesia, a new journalism, available on Amazon. In Technesthesia, enter a world where technology has rewritten human perception. Truth is no longer reported, it's experienced. In the future of journalism, memory, identity, and reality itself are no longer your own. If truth can be felt rather than proven, does it still matter if it's real? Technesthesia is a mind-bending, thought-provoking journey into the next evolution of media. Author Emily Tiffany Joy is a philosopher and founder of the Center for Non-Adversarial Knowledge Structuring. It's a groundbreaking initiative that's dedicated to ethical innovation, responsible artificial intelligence frameworks, and much more. The future isn't coming, it's already here. Order your copy right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Technesthesia from author Emily Tiffany Joy. Motherhood. It's beautiful, life-changing, and full of surprises. While baby showers celebrate the joy, no one tells moms about the changes to your body, your self-image, finances, and even your relationships. From author Karen Kennard comes an honest, unfiltered, must-read book that's packed with wisdom, humor, and real talk about the journey into motherhood. Things they don't tell you at the baby shower. Available on Amazon. From late-night feedings to finding your confidence, Things They Don't Tell You at the Baby Shower gives you the tools and reassurances you need to navigate the biggest role of your life and do it with grace and a little laughter. This book also makes a great baby shower gift. And remember, moms, you're not alone in this journey. Order your copy right now on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Things They Don't Tell You at the Baby Shower from author Karen Kennard. Are you looking for a new job and tired of filling out endless applications? Let Lift My CV take over the job search for you. Lift My CV is the new AI-powered job search agent that finds and auto-applies to the best jobs for you, so you can land that dream job faster and easier than ever. Lift My CV is easy to use too. Just set your preferences, upload your resume, and Lift My CV handles everything else. It scans top job boards like LinkedIn, Monster, and more, and fills out the applications while you focus on prepping for that big interview. Your job search just got a lot easier. There's no subscriptions and no commitments. Sign up right now at liftmycv.com. That's liftmycv.com. Apply faster. Get hired sooner.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. And Chuck Schumer was on The View today, and I'm not going to play you the clip. I'm just going to tell you what he said. I'm not going to play. There's going to have to be something incredibly extraordinary to happen for me to play an audio clip from The View. I don't even like talking about The View. All right. I really don't. Pretty fed up with The View. But Chuck Schumer, he really went off today on people like you and me who think we should be able to keep more of the money that we earn and that the government taxes us too much. And the arrogance, and this response to Doge and Elon, and of course him going along with that continuing resolution. And there's everything's been coming down on Schumer because he voted in favor of this Trump continuing resolution, and they just can't handle it. The thing about Schumer talking about the taxes today, if you go and watch the video, which you can go watch it online, Whoopi Goldberg's trying to stop him because she knows how much damage he's doing to himself. Schumer just doesn't understand it's over for him. I mean, he's 100 years old. He's got $80 million, and he just can't retire on his $80 million and sit around and pretend to cook cheeseburgers on a grill with his family. At some point, how much money is enough? Right? Why is and the people that they recruit into the government are like Schumer. They love the money, but they also love the power and the influence, and they just can't walk away. The guy's got over 80 million at his age. He's got kids and grandkids. He may even have great grandkids. I don't know, but he certainly has grandchildren, and he could retire, and he and his wife and his entire family would never have to worry about money ever again. But he just can't walk away, and he's going to go out like a jerk. And good for him. He's a jerk, and he should go out being humiliated. Let him take these stands and get desperate and try to hold on to the little bit of power he has. But the powers that be inside the Democrat Party have decided he's out. And, there's been a lot of polls that have been talked about the last couple of days about how low the approval rating is for Democrats. And what the Democrats tell themselves is they're not liberal enough, that they have to go more to the left. And these new polls that are out, the Democrats, they can't figure out why people aren't supporting them. And I've been watching some of the discussions with the pundits on television. They're talking about this, and none of them have it. And I don't know if they're not sharing the truth about why the Democrats are doing so poorly, or if they don't know. And there's a couple of things here. These polls that are out showing the Democrats at historic low approval ratings, that is how unpopular the Democrats have always been. Okay. The Democrats, this support they've had has really been an illusion because they've been overrepresented in media. And I don't mean just news, but any type of media. And a lot of people felt pressured to support the liberal ideas, not just during this woke age, but a couple years ago, BLM and whatever was in vogue before that. And Trump's overwhelming victory has let a lot of people know that have been bullied into supporting liberal things that they don't have to do that. Another thing, too, President Trump, he is very conservative, but he is socially liberal on many things if you go back to liberalism of, say, the 90s, right? He's not anti-gay. He has no problem with gay rights, but what's going on with the transgender thing is a whole nother level. And Trump is not the kind of social conservative that, the 700 Club and the Christian Coalition were talking about in the 90s and in the 80s. And that's fine. And that's another reason. But the main reason that the Democrats are doing so poorly today. It's a lot of it's because of Trump, and people have realized that, that's the real popular viewpoint, that this is a conservative country, and it always has been a conservative country. Richard Nixon won 49 states, Ronald Reagan, the Democrat Party's biggest problem they have right now is the people that are in Congress and in governors, but, like this governor in Maine with the transgendered sports thing, the lady that mouthed off to the president. But the Congress people that are the Democrats, they're on TV all the time. They're the face of the party, and they are radical, anti-American, anti-white, racist activists that are just hardcore anti-American radical activist. And when the squad first came to Congress, Nancy Pelosi was very aware of this with AOC and Tlaib and the rest of the squad. And Tlaib, AOC, and the rest of the squad, when they first got elected, were really doing weird stuff. They were doing strange things. And Pelosi even said on television at a press conference, she said, there's a difference between being an activist and being a member of Congress. And these activists have graduated to becoming members of Congress. They can't behave like activists. Well, they didn't listen to her because they know what's best. And you have these radical activists that are now the face of the Democrat Party because these House members are on TV all the time. And there's more than just them, but the face of the party are these radical lunatics that are taking some of the most bizarre positions that anyone could possibly take. But like I say, the Democrats will never admit they've done anything wrong. So because of that, they're going to be losers. Like as an example, it started with the USAID. When it was exposed that USAID was spending untold hundreds of millions of dollars on the New York Times and Politico and all these things, and the Social Security, all that stuff that was revealed with USAID, and in the first couple of days when DOJ started releasing things, they continue to support these insane, crazy positions that it's okay to rip off the government. That's just an example. During the break, I turned on Fox News during the commercial break to see what was going on. And they were talking about the transgender bathroom issue in Maine, and the Trump administration has given them 10 days to correct it. And if they don't correct it, there's going to be some action by the Justice Department, which we don't know what that's going to be. Ed, there was a mother who was talking about how her daughter was forced to, by administrators, they told her she had to change clothes in a locker room with a biological boy. And there was a very long story about this. And for the life of me, I can't understand that at all. The transgendered issue, I'm so tired of it. I don't even like talking about it. It's so, because, you know why? Because it's so absurd. But the idea, it's one thing for the transgendered people to want to do these things, okay? It's another thing for these school administrators, college leaders, coaches, governors, and others to advocate to have biological boys naked in locker rooms with girls. And in these instances in Maine, we're talking about high school girls. And these are not people that have gone through sex change operations. These are biological boys that have fully functional male sex organs. And these are high school girls. These are children. They're children. And I don't even know why children are changing clothes in a locker room in front of others. I've mentioned before, when I was in middle school in seventh grade, they started making us dress out and shower in PE, and it was very creepy and uncomfortable. Could you imagine what it would be like for the girls to be have to be in this locker room changing clothes, and there's a transgender biological boy in there who's completely naked? These girls, they're children. Most of them, hopefully all of them, but most of them have not even seen in person a naked male before, okay? Because they're still children. A lot of them have not gotten to that point in life, thankfully so. Hopefully all of them. And it's really got to be traumatic. And you see this governor in Maine, and you see the Democrats in Congress and their pundits on television advocating for this to be allowed, it's just stupid. And that's why the Democrats are losing. It's bizarre. I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the program. Remember, Patreon supporters, you have access to commercial-free editions of all of the podcast episodes. And I post those on the Patreon page. Plus, my wife, Kathy, and I post a lot of things up there that we don't post anywhere else. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, John S, Frank, and Dale. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. And again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode. Okay, I give you another example of an issue that's crazy. All of these attacks on Teslas. Now, most Teslas are driven by liberals, and they're being attacked. In Las Vegas, where my daughter is right now, our daughter went to Las Vegas with Kathy's mother, and my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, flew out to Los Angeles for the first time to visit our daughter who lives out there, and then she took her to Vegas for a few days, and our daughter's never been to Vegas, and there was this massive Tesla arson event in Vegas. FBI's investigating. Listen to this. This is on X. Several Tesla vehicles were deliberately set on fire at a Tesla service center in Las Vegas in an incident currently under investigation for arson. The fires occurred around 2:45 a.m., with some accounts suggesting the use of Molotov cocktails. The FBI is involved, and while some social media posts speculate on political motivations related to Elon Musk's activities, no official motive has been confirmed by law enforcement. What's going on here? What this really is it's a hate crime. They're targeting businesses and drivers of people of Teslas. Most every Tesla on the road in America, most of them, are driven by liberals. Not all of them, but most of them are. So now all of a sudden, some lunatics on the left have decided that people shouldn't have Teslas, and anybody who does should, be firebombed like they did here with these Molotov cocktails? I find it hard to believe they don't have video of this. I mean, they've had video cameras everywhere in our society now. I'm sure something's on video. The FBI is investigating. Hopefully Dan Bongino's on this as the new deputy director. This is crazy. And you don't see the liberals out there calling for an end of this. This is very dangerous. This is very, very dangerous. And these Teslas, because of the electric and the battery components, are highly flammable. And the fires that I've seen of these Teslas, and I've seen a few Teslas on fire online after the hurricanes in Florida, they're fires that seem to burn longer than when a regular car burns. I've seen car fires before in person a couple times. You ever seen one in person? An oil leak sometimes. And when a car burns, it burns, but not for long. I don't know why. Those fires, they burn themselves out kind of quick. These Tesla fires, they're really long. I don't know if they're hotter fires, but also there's like small explosions out of them. So this is an epidemic, a hate crime epidemic by the left against Elon Musk and Tesla owners. And what are the left doing? Right? Kelly and others, they're selling their Teslas. They're getting rid of their Teslas. Right? Which really, in a way, is an endorsement of the actions against Elon Musk. These are the reasons that the Democrats are doing so poorly. They're taking these just bizarre, out of control, crazy positions on pretty much everything. And if there's a right way and a wrong way, they take the wrong way on everything. And there's certain issues that as a society and as Americans bring us together. One of them is, as Americans, we're against arson, vandalism, and firebombing, but the liberals are in support of it right now. It's really scary. I wish I could buy a Tesla. I mean, Kathy and I, we got a new car a few months ago. If we had not bought our new car a few months ago, I would go out and buy a Tesla right now. I don't know if I'd buy that Cybertruck. That seems a little big, but I wouldn't mind having one. But I wouldn't mind having a Tesla to support Elon Musk when you look at what he's going through. It's not my favorite choice for car. It's not my first choice. I like what we have. Kathy has, we have a Mini Cooper, and then I have an older car, a Kia Sorento, an old SUV that's 2011. But our new car is a Mini. And Kathy and I have always liked Minis. It's just the two of us. We don't need any more space than the Mini provides. But I wish I could go out and buy a Tesla and support Elon Musk. And if I could, I would. But what's going on here, the Democrats, instead of endorsing the hatred of Elon Musk, which they're doing on TV every day, and doing these high-profile virtue signaling incidents of selling their Teslas, when these hate crimes against Teslas are taking place across the country, why are we so low in the polls? Well, they're taking crazy positions on everything. There's not a single position that the Democrats have today that is reasonable.